Hello, and welcome to the CBS Evening News. This is Katie Couric. When H.G. Bissinger published his book, Friday Night Lights, in 1990, not only did it portray the lives of 6 seniors who were on the Permian Panther football team, it had a great impact on showing America the real side of high school football. Now, 10 years later, the same 6 men are affected every day by their football careers at Permian and its long-term effects. Coming up this hour, we will hear from Boobie Miles, Mike Winchell, Brian Chavez, Don Billingsley, and Ivory Christensen. This is Boobie Miles. Boobie. Boobie.
Oh, hi, Katie.
You look like you're having fun playing with those toys, Boobie.
Katie, stop messing around. These are my kids. This is serious interview.
Sorry, Boobie. So, tell us a little bit about your high school years at Permian.
Well, in high school, I was a stud. I mean, it was my kingdom. I ruled that field. It wasn't until that fateful scrimmage.
It's just a scrimmage.
Boobie, no! No, I'm done for the season.
It was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. When I was in high school, I felt invincible. When I hurt my knee and didn't even have football anymore, I realized just how little they cared about me as a person. I didn't learn any other life skills besides how to play football. My grades weren't good enough to get into a real college, but now I'm paying for it.
So, what is the next move for Boobie Miles?
I'm going to start a band.
Next, we will hear from former Permian tight end and Harvard graduate Brian Chavez. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you for having me, Katie.
So, Brian, will you tell us a little bit about your football career at Permian?
Well, when I was in high school, I was focused mostly on my studies. I was number 1 in my class, but I also played football. I felt it was more of a physical release for me to get my stress out than an activity that I actually loved.
Hey, Brian. Get your nose out of your books, Brian. It's time for practice.
So, what have you been up to since you left Permian?
Well, I got accepted to Harvard and graduated in 1993. Then got my law degree from Texas Tech University. I played football when I first got to Harvard, but quit because it just wasn't the same as playing for the Permian Panthers.
What do you think your years of playing football for the Panthers teach you?
I think playing football for Permian opened a lot of doors for me. It allowed me to have the team atmosphere, it taught me dedication, which also translated to my life off the field when I was at Harvard. I got to live the ultimate American dream by being a Panther and then graduating from Harvard.
Well, thank you so much, Brian, for enlightening us with your perspective on the Permian experience.
Thank you for having me, Katie.
When Brian Chavez left Permian and went to Harvard, his life was changed dramatically, and he built a life and a career for himself. Some former Panthers weren't so lucky. We will now hear from Jerrod McDougal, who played at offensive tackle on the 1988 Permian team. Here he comes now. Oh, nothing much. Thanks for asking. So, Jerrod, tell us about your career at Permian back in 1988.
I loved that year. It was the best year of my life. I think about it every day and every minute. It was all about football and I had time for nothing else. It was the best year of my life.
Jerrod, it's time to work on your college application.
No!
Jerrod, it's time to take a shower.
Mom, no!
Jerrod, go to bed. You need to sleep.
Fine.
Do you look back on high school with any regrets? What happened after you graduated from Permian?
After the football season ended with that loss to the Cowboys, my life just fell apart then and there. I put off my education until after football was done, but it came back to bite me later. I didn't focus on my grades at all, and hadn't filled out any college applications. In hindsight, I just wish I would have paid half as much attention to my schooling as I did to football.
So, what have you been up to these past 10 years, Jerrod?
Well, I went to a few community colleges around the local area, but I didn't really like school after that at all, so I went to work with my old man ever since.
Well, thank you, Jerrod, for coming in and speaking with us, and best of luck in the future.
No problem. Thank you.
Next up is Mike Winchell. He was the quarterback for the Permian Panthers. Tell us about your high school career. Was it difficult dealing with the pressure of being a quarterback?
Thanks for having me, Katie. It was just the pressure and all the nervousness, and when the situations got to really a high risk was just really tough to deal with.
So, how do you feel today about how your Permian football experience affected you?
I'm done. I can't do this.
Well, that escalated quickly. Anyways, moving on to Ivory Christian, middle linebacker for the 88 Panther team. Welcome, Ivory. Ivory, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay now.
Calm down, Ivory. It's just an interview. Tell me, when you were in high school, how did your religious beliefs affect your football career at Permian?
Well, I found a way to incorporate religion and football into my life. It was pretty much the best of both worlds.
What happened after you graduated?
Well, I chose not to pursue my religious calling and instead went to play for Texas Christian University for a while. I eventually quit the team and returned to Odessa and got my associate's degree.
How did football affect the direction your life went in?
Well, when I got a scholarship offer from TCU, and that drove me away from my religious aspirations. If it weren't for football, I might have been the pastor of the largest congregation in California.
Alright, that's enough about you, Ivory. You can go now. Moving on, we have our last interviewee with us today, Don Billings. Hello, Don. Would you care to share with us a little bit of your experience at Permian High School?
Well, I was really popular when I went to Permian, and I was a huge party animal. You can probably tell that just by looking at me, though. My drinking, it negatively affected both my health and my game.
So, as you can see, students, E equals MC squared. There's going to be a pop quiz tomorrow. Boobie, stop playing with those dinosaurs.
Sorry, dude. Hey!
So, what do you think changed after you graduated?
Well, I actually started to care about school after I left Permian, and I got a bachelor's degree in public relations from East Central University. I exceeded expectations set for me by my coaches and classmates, and I'm proud of myself. I mean, look at me now.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
This has been the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric. Thank you and good night.
Brian!
Jerrod, it's time to work on your college application.
What? Hey, puppy!
Don't look at me.